Last night, Disney Plus finally dropped Punisher: One Last Kill. So let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Jordan, the Nerd of Cult, and I did not like this. Let's be upfront about this. I was not a fan of this thing at all. The action sequence at the end is obviously the main highlight and the big reason that they even made this. But at the same time, I'm just like, why did we even make this? Because this seems like it was a Punisher movie that got cut up to hell, and we got what was left of everything else that they were like, we can throw this on Disney Plus and not finish making the movie that we were clearly intending to make. But like, I don't know, it doesn't fit into Daredevil Born Again, like, with that going on, because the continuity of that is so nebulous. It could have taken place before the Daredevil Born Again stuff. We don't really know when this takes place within the MCU timeline based on watching it, but we do know from Dario Scardapane, who was the showrunner on Daredevil Born Again Season 2 and Season 1 after the reworking, that it takes place concurrently to what is happening in that show. But at the same time, like, I shouldn't go to Variety to look for that information. That is a line that they easily could have dropped during the special, but did not. Not that to say that the continuity of when this takes place or anything was like a bothersome thing to me. It wasn't. I just did not care for what was happening on screen, because most of what we see on screen is Jon Bernthal being like, ugh, and grunting. Like, the Punisher grunting works when he's got some dialogue to go back and forth with, like, Daredevil or any other character, like literally anyone else to go up against, and he's trying to be intense. But most of this was Jon Bernthal just looking intense and that Punisher grunt, and I'm just like, I want something more from this. Like, the script is weak because it doesn't give him much to do. It doesn't really explore his character that often. It just kind of hits the highlights of what you should know about Punisher, which is his family is dead, and he used to be a Marine, and he's haunted by all of this, and we should know that going into who the Punisher is. Like, you're not watching the Punisher special being like, I don't know who the Punisher is. Let's find out and watch this. And even if it was, I don't think it was that interesting in how they delivered all this information. It was just mainly flashbacks and him doing this. And I get that some people are like, it's an exploration of PTSD, and I can see that to a degree, but as far as like a viewing experience, I don't think this was the most interesting version of how they could have displayed all of this trauma and all of that. It just felt like we were hitting the hits just to pad some time until we got to the action scenes. And then yeah, I don't care for the way that we learned about what the world is working through the newscasters, and Monucci just basically telling us what has happened instead of showing us Punisher killing all these people that set up the world that we see him in. Overall, this feels like a big old waste of Jon Bernthal's talent, because Jon Bernthal is an excellent actor. I have loved him as Punisher in Daredevil, and I am looking forward to him being in Spider-Man, even though the fact I don't really care for Punisher in the superhero space. I think he's a dramatic, interesting character, but I don't like that they put him next to all the superheroes as if he was one of them. He is not. He's a mass murderer. He is closer to John Wick than he is to Spider-Man, and it bothers me that Marvel will sometimes try to put them on the same playing field, and they're not. Spider-Man should treat the Punisher as a villain, because yeah, he's not that different from the other villains that Spider-Man faces off in that sense. Like, I get it, there's not moral complexity, there is dramatic complexity to the Punisher, and that's one of the reasons I do find him interesting. It just, like I said, it bothers me when Marvel, like, tries to put him on an even playing field in terms of, like, coolness and, like, should he be accepted as a superhero next to, like, Spider-Man and Daredevil. Like, it doesn't work for me as a superhero fan. But that all being said, like I said, Jon Bernthal is a great actor, and I have seen him in plenty of things that I like outside of the MCU, and I'm just like, why? I don't think this really works as a special presentation about the Punisher, because it doesn't tell us anything new, and it just gives us an action sequence, basically. And I feel like it's just a big old waste of money too, because like, what is this? Like, Disney's not making any money off this. Most people aren't going to be talking about it after today, and like, again, there's so many things about why to even make this. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, overall, I was just disappointed in basically every element of this. The action sequence was cool. That's the highlight of it, and I think I'm done talking about this, because again, I just did not like it. I don't think it was a good exploration of his character, his past, his relationships with the wider world, and I don't think it really gave John much to do anything. Like, he was just basically grunting the entire time, and it just kept reminding me of that scene in Ted Season 2 where he's like, well, I think basically all acting is either whispering, crying, or yelling. So I choose one of those things before I do it. And it just reminded me of, like, without a good script, acting can only go so far. And it's like, when you expect something good out of a good actor, and that's all you see is a lot of grunting and whispering, and it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, and I know he worked on the script. That's the part that's kind of disappointing to me too, because, like, not every actor who wants to go on to become a writer and director can necessarily do those things. There are plenty of writers and actors out there who are, like, multi-talented behind the screen and on the screen, and I feel like John has a future still in this, but this was just not a good display of his talents on that front, I guess, as a writer. Or, like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to, like, dislike Jon Bernthal for this, but at the same time, I just was not impressed as a fan of the MCU, as a fan of the character, and I did not like this. What can I say?